Do you believe everything legal is right?
That's a very sweeping statement. I believe the court system, if one is found guilty in one court, one appeals to another court, and so it goes on. And on occasions, court decisions are overruled, and on occasions they're upheld. So I fear I can't answer that adequately for your purposes.
Let me make an example. During apartheid in our history, apartheid was legal, but was it right?
Of course not.
So not everything legal is right.
The way our justice system works today, I believe, is right. All the laws are gone through by this Parliament and have been carefully curated to ensure that they're as perfect as they possibly can be.
So your submission is everything that is legal is right.
I'm not sure how to answer that.
Okay. Based on your vast experience in politics, specifically as a member of the portfolio of police and now the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence, is the leak to the media a security breach?
Yes, I suppose it could absolutely be said that it is, as it was a security breach.
When you say it was, are you saying it's no longer?
No, I meant in the past tense, when it was done a year
But
ago.
as we consider it now.
Sorry, I'm just
So,
using tense.
but you would agree that it's still a security breach? The act happened before,
Yes, of course.
but that act still today is a security breach. Yes? Okay.
To some degree, yes.
Please enlighten me to what degree and to what degree not.
It was revealed, I believe, it had to have come from inside somewhere, I don't know where, and was revealed because the people revealing it believed there was criminal activity going on. So I think that is why is why I believe it was revealed. I can't speak for whoever did it, I have no idea.
So they did the right thing.
I think they believe they did.
Did they do the legal thing?
Beg your pardon?
Did they do a legal thing?
I'm not sure what the weight would be on exposing criminality versus keeping quiet about criminality. I don't know what the scales would say in that regard.
The law requires for them not to leak such information, correct?
I'm sure it is, but I don't know if the law covers you covering a criminal activity.
They did the right thing to leak it. They did an illegal act because it serves as a security breach.
It seems that is the case, yes.
If that's the case, that is where my question comes from, whether everything legal is right. You see the conundrum?
I do indeed.
So it's still a security breach. Does the fact that it was now in the public domain through the News 24 article mean that it's no longer a security breach?
I think once it's in the public domain, everything changes. Everything changes. The fact that it's purchased by crime intelligence as opposed to utilized for a specific situation, for a specific reason, is very peculiar and out of the ordinary, as Mr. McBride laid out. So there are people who are concerned about this and who've obviously leaked this information, and the Inspector General has investigated the matter.
Are you saying that by virtue of the fact that even though you agree that it's a security breach leaking that information, that by virtue of the fact that it was now published by a newspaper and it's in the public domain, that means in itself it's no longer a security breach?
I think hiding potential criminality is a crime.
I agree, but
Yeah.
now we're dealing with the law. We're
Yeah.
dealing with our responsibility as MPs. So we're testing the fact of now that it went to the newspaper, does that change the fact that it's a security breach?
It does not change the fact
All
that
right.
it was criminal. And
That-
I don't believe it.
what was
Every
criminal?
MP needs
That what
to
was criminal?
ensure that something criminal behavior is outed and dealt with.
You see, you must be very aware of what you're insinuating. The requirements is there shouldn't be leaks. And I agree with you. I'm a proponent for expose corruption. But there's a legal standard that we need to uphold. There's no compromise there. That legal standard was breached, and we both agree. Now I'm asking, the fact that it was now published, does that take away from the fact that it was a security breach?
It does not take away from the fact
It
that
does not. Given that it does not, do you think then, when a high-ranking MP like yourself shares a leak like that it moves it from an unverified media rumor to a politically endorsed act?
I think that, as Honourable James did, I immediately questioned the information and asked for an investigation into the matter, as did the then minister ask for an investigation. And he stated in Parliament that the properties were overpriced, and was asking some very similar questions.
Neither yourself or Honorable James is the legal standard or legal authority.
Certainly not. I'm sorry, I can't speak for Honourable James.
You
She may
continue to
be
mention
aware.
her.
I don't know her background.
MPs are also held to a very high ethical standard. Your argument is that your actions passes the legal test. But did you do the right thing in terms of the ethical conduct and standards required of an MP?
Yes,
Yes?
yes.
Our standards of ethical conduct, Section 5, E, Section 5, 1E. It says a member must maintain public confidence and trust in the integrity of Parliament and thereby engender the respect and confidence that society needs to have in Parliament as a representative institution. What is your understanding of the integrity of Parliament?
Parliament and members of Parliament have their main job, I think, is to do oversight over the executive. And that is what we have to do. We have to call people to account when public funds are misused, abused, stolen. That is the main thrust of the job as I interpret it. So when we do our jobs, every one of us who puts out a statement decrying some sort of criminality in whichever department you're looking at, I think that all boosts the public confidence in our institution.
What this principle is trying to tell us as MPs is that when we do this, which you rightfully state, we must be mindful of the fact that we must do it in order to maintain the public confidence and trust in the integrity of Parliament. So I take it that you believe that your actions contributed to maintaining the integrity of Parliament.
Absolutely.
Now, I put it to you that upholding the integrity of Parliament would have meant that you take note of the article, because you know this is a security breach. So you take note of the article. You say, I note this article. Because in your mind, you have, I must maintain the integrity of Parliament. I'm not just going to share it and jump on it. I take note of it. And then you tell the public, let me educate you. What happened here was a security breach. Then commit to the public as an MP, because of the integrity of Parliament, you are going to use all internal parliamentary oversight mechanisms to make sure that you deal with this, and also ensure that secrecy is not used as a cover-up to misuse state funds. So you note, you educate the constituency, and then you commit to parliamentary mechanisms that you will employ to deal with it. I put that to you.
I'm afraid, and that would have been the ideal, but no parliamentary committee existed to deal with this matter. It was only established months after this matter came about, appeared in the newspapers. The only recourse was to go to the Inspector General of Intelligence, who agreed to do the investigation.
Yes, that's one of the mechanisms,
It's not a parliamentary mechanism.
but it's a mechanism. You as an MP,
Sorry, you referred specifically to parliamentary mechanisms. That's all
that's
right.
the parliamentary mechanism. You as an MP, you represent Parliament, you're speaking to the Inspector General.
Yes, he doesn't fall under Parliament, though. So
But
I
you
thought
as
you
an-
meant the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence.
But you as an MP, you're now saying, because the JSCI is not formed yet, I'm going to now start with the Inspector General as an MP.
Yes.
Exactly, that's what I am submitting to you. Section 5D says every MP must place the public interest above her or his own interest when discharging her or his obligations in terms of the Constitution to Parliament and the public at large. Did you act in the public interest or your own or party interest when discharging what you deem your parliamentary duties when you shared the article?
I've done exactly what I've done my entire career, which is ensure that I do the best oversight possible over the public purse. The looting, as we've seen in various commissions, right the way through, I've lost count of how many now, show that there is looting going on, has been going on, and is still going on. And I think it's our duty as members of Parliament to highlight that wherever, whenever we can.
Okay, I got 6 minutes left, so I'm going to go straight to your attachment DKB3 and then your letter to the Inspector General, or DKB5. You wrote to the Inspector General on your parliamentary letterhead.
Mm-hmm.
Your statement, you say in the first paragraph, the Democratic Alliance has written to the Inspector General.
Yes.
It's not the Democratic Alliance that wrote to the Inspector General. It is you, as an MP, that wrote to the Inspector General.
Yes.
Do you see that as not having shown integrity?
I represent the Democratic Alliance.
According to the Members' Facilities Handbook and General Parliamentary Guidelines, the resources provided to an MP, such as official letterheads, staff, and office equipment, are considered tools of trade. If you use your parliamentary letterhead, you are saying, I'm speaking to you in my capacity as a representative in the state, in the function of the state. If you use your party letterhead, then you are clearly saying it is now your party writing to the Inspector General. So when you then write using the letterhead as an MP and you go in public and say the DA has written, you're lying.
I don't see it like that, I'm afraid.
According to our code of ethics, that's what it means. Then, 4 minutes. The properties, who's supposed to report on it? In which committee is it supposed to be reported about? Is it in the Police Portfolio Committee or in the JSCI?
It would come to the Joint Standing Committee if it had existed.
Yes, but what is the standard? Where should it go?
That's what I just said. It should have gone to the.
No, you said if it existed. So in other words, you're taking us back there, but I'm looking for the standard. Where should it? Because you're insinuating that if it doesn't exist, then it must be reported in the police committee, which is not the case.
No, I did not insinuate that.
Well, then you said,
There are
then you shouldn't say if it existed.
the Joint Standing
answer the
Committee on
question.
Intelligence did not exist. There
That's
was no
immaterial to
committee.
the question. You see that you do it again. It's immaterial to the question. Where should it be reported?
To the Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence.
That would mean that you lied in your statement to the public. You say in paragraph 2, while it is reported that the purchase took place in October 2024, it is striking that no mention of such a purchase was made when the SEPS reported on its property portfolio, the Portfolio Committee on Police in November 2024.
Indeed.
You're wrong. You misleading the public. You making the public in a public statement think that where that report had to happen was in the portfolio of police.
I said there was no mention of it in
They
the.
shouldn't be mentioned.
I said there was no mention of it in the portfolio of police,
Should they be?
and there was no Joint Standing Committee.
Honorable Barnett, should
They
they?
had not announced that they were purchasing anything, as far as I knew, within the Police Portfolio Committee. And certainly
Should there have been a report of this matter in the police committee?
there may have been.
No,
I don't
should
know.
there have
It
been?
was an aberration to have them
Based
purchasing
on the
property.
law
I don't
that
know
you
what.
are well aware of, based on 22 years of experience, should that report have been given in the police committee?
The report, as I said, there was no report on this matter before the police committee.
There shouldn't have been. My question is, should there have been?
I can't determine that.
Yes, you can.
No, I cannot.
You just earlier said where it's meant to be reported in is the JSCI.
The JSCI did not exist. It may
Yes.
well have been raised within the Police Portfolio Committee.
All
I
right.
don't know.
Are you saying that now? Are you making that submission to say that because it didn't exist, it should have been done in the police
I'm
committee?
not saying it should have.
So it shouldn't have.
I'm not. What I said was I took it to the Inspector General of Intelligence.
I know that. I want to know where should the report be given?
Well, it can't be given to a committee that doesn't exist.
And neither
There
can
was then a possibility, there was no reference to any such expenditure in the annual report of the SAPS.
and neither should it be given in the committee that does exist, which is the police committee. And you say to the public that it should be given there. You misled the public. I put it to you, you passed the legal test, but you are in breach of the code of standards and ethics required from an MP.
I respectfully disagree.
Thank you, Honorable Barnett. Thank you, Chair.